Hello and welcome to Barry Interesting. I'm your host, Barry 𝐄𝐀𝐃. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We've got State Senator-elect Desi Bean and his wife, Desi Bean. We're going to be talking about their transition into public service. But first, we're going to be talking to Russ Oliver. He's the Stoddard County Prosecuting Attorney. He has started Kinder House Ministries, a recovery house for men. You won't want to miss it. Welcome to this segment of the show. I want to say a hello to Ashton Chad. Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
I want to welcome Prosecuting Attorney from Stoddard County, Russ Oliver.
Good to be here, Barry. Thanks for having us.
Russ, thanks for being here today. I have several questions about this new endeavor that we're going to delve into. So, most of the people in the area know what you do for a living, but you have many careers on the side. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I wear many hats, right? So I'm the prosecuting attorney in Stoddard County. I've been there about a decade. My family also owns the meat shop, which is a full-service slaughter and retail butcher shop in Dexter, Missouri. I also pastor a church in Kinder, Missouri, which is about 8 miles north of 𝐓𝐿𝐄𝐃. I have 3 wonderful kids and a wife. We live at the sprawling metropolis of Acorn Ridge, Missouri. So that's...
Hello, Jennifer. So tell us how you got involved with the Kinder Community Church.
Yeah, so I've been prosecutor for about 10 years, and you know, whenever I came into office, I was one of my main things was attacking our drug epidemic that we have. That's really been going on for 20 years, going back into the mid to late 90s. And I saw that, you know, a large majority of our cases, probably 80 to 85% of our cases are drug related, whether it's somebody breaking into a house to steal stuff, to go buy drugs, or stealing copper off of irrigation pivot. Everything really comes back to drugs, and I knew that if we could make a dent into the drug problem, we would improve the lives of the people of Stoddard County immensely and improve our crime rate. And so whenever I started, I took a very hardline approach, and both users and drug dealers were treated very harshly. And the result of that I experienced was the same names, the same tired faces coming through my court over and over and over and over again. I'm not somebody that can sit in things that aren't working. I've got to try something new. And so about 6 years ago, we started sending people to long-term faith-based rehabilitation centers. Some of them that you might have heard of, John 3:16, John 3:17.
Very effective.
At Crossroads, Breaking Bonds. There's a lot of good programs out in this area. And so we started sending people there. And what I had noticed was that the people who go to those programs and graduate from those programs, who have a support structure, you know, a good family, parents that they haven't completely burned the bridge out, and they're able to come back to some kind of structure, a job, transportation, our success rate is through the roof. I mean, it's 95 plus on people who are coming back with structure. But not everybody has that. And so we see a lot of people who come out, we arrest them out of a flop house or, you know, a drug house. We take them to jail. I'm a big believer in giving a dry out time to people, even people coming out on probation. You know, that they need a time just to their brain chemistry to heal, to even have a chance at sobriety. And so we take them, we put them in jail, we let them dry out for an extended period of time, and then we send them to a ministry. They do well down there, and they come out and they come back to the exact same flop house that we arrested them out of, and them being in that environment that got them in drugs to begin with no structure, no hope, no way out, we have not as good a success rate. I mean, it's probably in the 40% success rate for people who don't have a good structure. So,
And most people don't like to have repeat customers
no, well, I
in
mean,
this business, right?
At the meat shop, we really appreciate our repeat customers. Up at Bloomfield in the courthouse, I'd rather not see you again.
Don't work out too good.
Yeah, and the thing of it is that what was frustrating to me is that those faces that keep coming through, they're frustrating to have the cases to continually deal with it. But at the end of the day, that's somebody's life. That's somebody's kid. That's somebody's grandkid, their brother, whose life's in shambles. And we as a community, we've got to do better about have restorative justice that brings people and gives them an opportunity. Is this going to work for every one of them? No. But the ones that it does work for is a systemic change in our community for generations. That when we restore families into healthy relationships, where the kids are back with parents and grandparents aren't raising them anymore, and the parents are really clean, not just kind of clean for a little while, but really clean with a job, with transportation, with hope for the future. You're talking about generational changes in your community, changing the outcomes for children, changing the outcomes for their children's children. And so I pastor a church in Kinder, like I was telling you about. It's a little church, closed down about 2 years ago. They had a divide and everybody walked away from the building. And me and another guy, Gary Burns, we went in and we're trying to reestablish that church. And I got to looking around and I thought, man, it's a nice building. It was built back in 2005. And I was like, man, we got this nice building. We use it a couple hours a week. And it didn't seem like we were being good stewards of what God had bestowed on us. I knew that there was this problem, that we have guys that are going through the ministry and being successful if they have structure, and not being successful if they don't have structure when they come out. And so I thought, well, why can't we just take some of these rooms and put some bunk beds in them? We've got some bathrooms. We put some showers in the bathrooms, and it was a process of about 1.5 years of getting everything in place, getting the right people in place. That's the biggest thing: having people there, structure in place, getting employers lined up, that will employ these guys, because that's a big part of our program. And so everything really came together about 8 weeks ago. We've been doing this for about 8 weeks, and we've seen just enormous growth in the guys that have come out of these programs. And our program is really tailored for graduates, people who are serious about their sobriety, people who really want to become productive members of society, who are graduates of John 3:16, graduates of Breaking Bonds, and that we're trying to provide that structure. So everyone in our house is employed. We make sure that everyone has, valid driver's license. They've got insurance. They've got good transportation, and we want to make sure that we provide that structure on how to live your life. We get up at 4:30 in the morning. There's a Bible study at 5 o'clock. Everybody is off to work and going to work early, not showing up late. We're making sure that everybody gets to where they're supposed to be going and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and doing what they've told people that they're going to do.
Russ, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the whole program, this sounds like a model that the whole state can use. It sounds like it can be duplicated, replicated, but give the audience kind of a benchmark of where Stoddard County, well, you're actually on the border of Butler County, but the area, what are the drugs being used in the area? How severe is it? Just give us some background from a prosecutor standpoint on how bad the drug problem is.
Yeah, so Stoddard County is a county of about 30,000 people. We've got about 800 square miles. We're a big county. We're a pretty diverse county. As far as the drugs that we've seen, since the mid to late 90s, we've had meth just rampant through our communities. Around 2008 to 2011 or 12, opiates just exploded and absolutely ravaged our communities. And the result of that opiate epidemic has resulted in now heroin and fentanyl being making a real surge in our community. We've seen many overdose incidents. We've also seen many overdose deaths from fentanyl and heroin that we never saw before.
So Ashton, we're going to bring you in. Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
You've been sitting over there like a good boy for a few hours, so a few minutes. So I just want to go over some of the experiences you had. You've been there about a month, you told me before you come on?
Yes, sir.
It's a challenge, it's building camaraderie, it's holding yourself accountable. So tell us a little bit about your day-to-day activity at the Kinder House.
Okay, so starting Monday, each of us get up at 4 in the morning. We have a Bible study at 5 o'clock. Usually the Bible studies last about an hour, sometimes a little bit longer. And then each one of us, guys that live at Kinder, we go to our daily jobs, and after we go to our daily jobs, we work all day, and we'll get off work. And it really it depends which day it is, but on Mondays we go to True Vine after we get off work. So the guys will come home, take a shower, go to True Vine, and that's a recovery meeting, and we'll do some fellowship in there, and maybe some testimonies, eat some food. On Tuesdays, that's our free day, so we get to kind of hang out at the church and fellowship and do whatever we feel like doing. On Wednesdays, we usually, since I've been there, we go out and serve the community, serve a church, because we feel like that's necessary to do as we're walking and abiding in Christ. And on Thursdays, we attend New Life Recovery in Fredericktown. We went to that yesterday, and I gave my testimony there. It's powerful stuff. Fridays, we usually go to Bright Prospect Church, and we have a good time there. We listen to testimonies and dive into the Word a little bit. And then Saturdays, we actually hold our own event at the Kinder Community Church and give testimonies, and we'll have other ministries come. So really, we stayed up and we're busy. We're keeping ourselves occupied with good things, and we're consuming ourselves with recovery meetings and Bible studies, and just it's the whole 9 yards.
So you came to the Kinder House on August 15th.
Yes.
Where did you come from?
I came from John 3:16 Ministries. I went to John 3:16 October 13th of 2019. I stayed a period of 8 months. I graduated May 24th of 2020, so this year, and it changed my entire life. John 3:16 Ministries. It's a faith-based spiritual boot camp for men with drug and alcohol addictions, and that's what I had, and I had a serious one at that. But it completely changed my life. And Jesus saved my soul through that program. They taught us the tools, the necessary tools, how to live not only a sober life, but more of a Christ-filled life. So it's complete opposite from how I was living and what I was used to doing. Anyways, I graduated the ministry May 24th, and next month will actually be a year clean and sober for me.
Congratulations.
John 3:16.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Looks like you're doing well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So the Kinder House, let's say that you didn't go to the Kinder House. A lot of people don't have a place to go. It's helping you assimilate back into the society that you've been out of for 6 months to a year, right?
Right.
So you're assimilating back into real life society. Do you feel like that's a need for many people in your situation, or do you feel like that you could have went home and been by yourself and been okay, fell in with those old friends who were not good for you? So tell us about the two roads that you could have taken. You went to the Kinder House, or you could have went back probably to your old friends and your old way of life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, to be quite honest, for me, it was not an option to go back home. When I went to John 3:16 Ministries, I went there for a reason and a purpose to change my life, because I was tired of living 10, 12 years in addiction, being a nobody and at a dead end in my life. So after being at a ministry for 8 months and kind of being in a bubble, like Russ talked about, coming out of the ministry, and not only a ministry, but prisons or whatever it may be, rehabs, treatment centers, I think it's very vital for someone to go to a structured transition house or a faith house or something of that nature, because structure, honestly, I've been in treatments, and I've been in one faith-based treatment, and that's John 3:16, and I've seen a lot of people they're ready to change their life and they're ready to do good. But once they get out and they complete the program or whatever it may be, when they don't go to a structured transition house or a faith home or whatever it may be, that's where a lot of them fall, because either they go back to their old friends or they go back to what they used to be comfortable with. And once you're comfortable with something and you get around it again, then you fall back into it. And I truly believe you got to change people, places, and things. But being at Kinder is very vital for me, and it's vital for all the guys. So I think it's absolutely necessary for anybody who's coming out of a treatment, faith-based treatment, or prisons that truly want to change their life to go to something like that. And it's helped me tremendously.
Well, I commend you for that, making that turnaround. A lot of people don't do it in time, so congratulations. And you told me you're a professional roofer now, right?
Yes, sir.
Those 100-degree days would be tough, won't
I'm
it?
telling you, man, it'll wear you down, but it's all worth it. I'm doing good, productive work. I feel I enjoy doing it. I like manual labor. I like hard work.
So who do you work for? Who employed you?
Joe Bridges. The company name is Redeemed Roofing. So I'm surrounded around guys who've been delivered from addiction just as well as me. So, it's very vital for me. I would rather not work around guys who are drinking or doing drugs because, like I said, I believe changing people, places, and things is very vital. But also I believe that you want to hang around like-minded people. So for me, that's very important to me. And Joe, I look up to him extremely, look up to him. He's been sober from drugs and alcohol for about 3 years. And he also graduated John 3:16 Ministries. So he's an example that I can look up to and a role model as well.
Great job, Ashton. Wish you the best. You're doing a great job. I can tell you're over the hump. And it's the Kinder House, folks, for everybody out there watching. And I think it's going to be a model for the whole state, could be a model for the whole country. Once again, the Kinder House, part of the Kinder Community Church, right outside of 𝐓𝐻𝐃𝐃𝐃, Missouri. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Barry.
I'd like to welcome State Senator-elect Jason Bean and his beautiful wife, Desi Bean, to our show tonight.
Well, number one, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
It was great to be here the first time, and glad to be here again. Now I've got my wonderful wife here with us.
You were our first interview ever in this studio. You're serial number one. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned from our mistakes then, but it didn't cost you the election.
So I thought we did pretty good, really. So
No, you did a great job. So welcome to the show. Welcome back for you. Welcome for the first time.
Thank you.
The first of many, maybe, right?
Yes.
So let's get into your decision-making process as a family on what made you decide to run for state senate.
well, I mean, we naturally knew, saw what I had seen in the district, and like I said, I think before, so many empty storefronts, and just want more for the 25th district. So after, I knew that I wanted to run, then it was time to sit down with the family and talk about all the aspects of a campaign, what it was going to take, the time commitments for all of us. And then on top of that, when we won, after that, we tried to talk that through quite a bit, and I made sure the family truly understood the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So I tell everybody that I'm a Democrat because it was a genetic defect passed down from my family. So your dad was a state representative in the same district you're serving now?
Correct.
So tell me what that meant to you, winning the election, your dad holding a state rep seat in your state senate district. Tell me what that meant to you on election night.
I'll tell you, it was truly a humbling night. It was truly humbling. We saw those results come in, and like I say, it was just humbling. I mean, we won by over 7,000 votes, and that was a humbling experience, and to pretty much cover everything. And I will tell you, it brought up a lot of memories of my dad and his campaign and everything that we did. So it really, I tell you, in more ways than one, it humbled me that night.
Well, your dad was a uniter. He got both Democrat and Republican votes, and obviously by the results of the election, you also got Democrat and Republican votes. I can't point to one faction that says they won the election for you because it was such an overwhelming victory that, you have a mandate for the 25th district, and I know you humbly take that to Jeff City.
Yes, and like I say, it was, I felt like we did really good just throughout the district. A lot of people came together, and we're going to do our best to continue that on to Jeff City.
I mean, the election results were a lot bigger than you and I even thought it would be, right? Yes. So tell us a little bit about that when those tallies started rolling in.
I will tell you,
Very surprising.
yes, and then I was actually outside my shop, mosquitoes were everywhere. And the numbers came in, actually 𝐓𝐻𝐃𝐃 County came in first. And I was like, wow, people in 𝐓𝐻𝐃𝐃 County came out and voted. And then Dunklin County hit, and I'm like, 2,900 people in Dunklin County voted for me? I mean, that was and at that time I started going, And then a big one was Shannon County. When Shannon County came in, it was 1,055 votes. I mean, that's when it really started hitting. And we didn't know Butler County results till 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they had some trouble, didn't they, with their technology or something?
They did, but Stoddard County came in, once again, just everything started coming in, and it was just, like I say, to go through that experience, it's humbling.
And by the time the results came from the other counties, Butler County really didn't matter at that point. You knew you had won.
And he said that too, but I wanted to know all of them, all the counties, but.
So Desi, let's talk about that then. From the time Jason said, I'm thinking about running for Senate, do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? And you said, absolutely not, or I'm all for this. We've got to do this for our fellow citizens.
I mean, I knew he would be great at it. He just, he really cares about the area, born and raised in this area. I just kind of wanted to be able to sit down with the kids and say, this is what's going to happen, and kind of get their input on it. But I was very supportive. I knew he would, do a great job at it and really work hard for it.
So you had the full support of the family right when this thing started?
The kids were they kind of wanted to know, how's this going to affect our lives? I mean, they're little kids, so that was their main concern, but he explained it very well, and they were excited about it.
The kids, so they accepted it, and were they on the campaign trail with you?
Every chance we got, we absolutely tried to include them. If we went to Shannon or Carter County, a big tourism area, beautiful area, we'd try to take them with us and always incorporate.
They did door to door. They would go door to door and hang up
Absolutely.
the door hangers and did
Like I
that quite a
say,
bit.
events that we'd have, they would sit there and hand out, like we did a crawfish bowl, they were serving crawfish, and just really,
Proud of it.
they did a great job.
I think I saw you and your daughter at Las Brisas. Y'all were going to go do door hangers somewhere, maybe in Malden that day?
We were. And then
She's a go-getter. I mean, she's the one that, is very good being out in the public and doing all that.
yeah, every kid worked a pole that day. It was great. So.
What's your kids' names? Let's give a big shout out to them, because I'm sure they're going to watch it.
Colin, Claire, and Otto.
They were all big involved in the
Big supporters. They loved it. And the oldest has even said he misses it.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I miss the whole campaigning and being out. And
Colin was a door hanging machine.
He was.
He did a great job. We put out 9,000 door hangers, and we did it with just a few people that really came together, had a lot of support. Teachers came out and really helped us with door hangers. Like I say, the family did a good job.
No wonder you was feeding her that night. You worked her to death. So Desi, what was the best part of the campaign for you? And I can imagine what the worst part was, probably the negative campaigning towards your husband.
yes, just the best part was probably just the coming together of everyone and the support that he received. And everyone was just really supportive in our community, from, like you said, going door to door, calling, texting, giving support. And like you said, the toughest was probably at the end when it was getting a little bit more harsh, I guess I could say, because, with spouses, you can say what you want about your spouse, but, it's hard when you've got other ones attacking him on stuff that you knew is not true. But even then, people would call and text and say, just hold your head up, you're going to get through this. So, it's probably the most.
What did you find out about yourself throughout this campaign?
Oh, gosh. That I could be pretty strong, That's probably wouldn't you think that would be it, probably?
I think so. You go back to the ugly part of campaigning, and that was really hard on Desi, I will tell you. I feel like, I've been through my dad's campaign, so I understood that and watched campaigns. But also as a farmer, I've been hit with hailstorm, windstorms, and learned to get hit and get right back up and keep going. So that was kind of hard for her. She really took some of that personally.
I'm one who's, sweet and kind, and everybody to be happy and it to be all good. And we're just gonna kind of maybe went into this thinking, everybody's gonna be nice, and you're just gonna kind of run on your own stuff, but nobody's gonna really attack. And
Well, that brings me to a good question. I told you before we came on the air, me and my wife were polar opposites politically when we first met. So when you first met, politically, were y'all straight in line with each other? Did you have any disagreements, or were you pretty much on the same page?
think we've pretty well always been on the same page. I think we've always been.
We really have. We're both very conservative, and
I was raised very religious, so I think our views pretty well go in line together, which is a good thing. I mean,
we can still kind of disagree on a few things, but no, we're pretty.
That's human nature, right?
yeah.
If everybody agreed on everything, we wouldn't need 2 parties or 3 or 4 or whatever, right? So what's the number one thing you've learned since you become the state senator-elect as far as the day after? What did you do the day after besides go on vacation a few days later?
Well, actually, one of my first priority was to pick up a bunch of signs. That's just.
And you did that.
I did. I'm not a big campaign sign person. I want to get those up, but campaigning. You were out there. You were listening a lot, and really. I mean, we've been doing the same since. We've been right back in the district, working hard to listen to people, listen to the needs of each county, listen to the needs of each town. Really, that hasn't changed. We've kept on going. We took a little bit of a break just because we went so strong, but like I say, listening, learning, being accessible.
You know, it's very difficult to get people to run down here in the Boot Hill because Jeff City's so far away. So how's that going to affect your family? Is your family going with you to Jeff City? Are they staying here? What's the status of the family?
Well, right now the plan is, of course, I'll be up there starting in January, February, March, April, and then half of May. I'll be up there 3 or 4 days a week, depending on the week, depending on the schedule. But I think what we're going to do is, when the family can go, we're all going to go. If not, that's one thing we've definitely become a new virtual world. So making sure that we stay in contact, and I'm still going to be a big part of their lives, and vice versa, they'll be a big part of mine. And we've even talked about if, like say, the school systems stay like they're doing, I may take one kid a week with me and let them be a part of the process.
And they would enjoy that. They would enjoy being able to go, and they love to go and do that kind of stuff, and love Jeff City. So I think, and that'd be a learning experience. My goodness, for them to be able to do that.
I've hung around Jeff City a lot myself, and it's a unless you have your family around you, there's a lot of things that can get you in trouble as a family, not just as a single male or female, but having your family unit around you is the most important thing you can do, I think. The other stuff's secondary. And just to follow up on that, Arkansas they're in session every other year. And this is really a part-time job that you have when you're getting paid as a part-time person. But in Missouri, we demand that our state senators and state reps work full-time, even though it's a part-time job. So it's a 12-month job for you, even though you're going to have time to farm in the summertime.
No, absolutely, and I take it and look at it as a full-time position, not as a part-time position. But going back to the family, before I ever ran for office, once again, I wanted the family support, I wanted them to understand. And we're going to try to incorporate that family in everything we do when it's possible. I know it won't be possible all the time, but like I say, as much as we can, we want to make it a family event. Because
he's very much hands-on. I know he farms and he stays busy with that, but he is a very hands-on dad, and husband. And so we're so used to that. So I think it is going to be a little hard that he's going to be gone, 3 or 4 days a week. But I think Don Rohn was telling me the other day, he said, thank goodness for phones and FaceTime and all those things. We can still do that.
So you became our state senator-elect in August, and you're starting to get a staff together. How many staff members do you have? How many staff members in a state senate office in Jeff City?
So I'll have 2 staff members in my office. I'll have a chief of staff, which we've already named. That's Ryan Gill. He was my campaign manager from Portsville, Missouri.
Did a great job.
He did do a tremendous job. I'm very lucky to have Ryan on board, and like I say, he's going to come on as our chief of staff. We'll also have a legislative assistant position that will be there as well, that will support us, and we're working on that position right now. And then we'll also have a part-time in-district person that will keep in touch down here with the needs, and if somebody needs to have a conversation with somebody in district, they'll be here.
Well, I've already got my person picked out. If I have a problem with you, it's Desi. So I'm gonna have to get her phone number before we. So you have 3 staff members in. Is that like every state senator has 3 staff members, 2 in Jeff City and 1 in their district? Is that normal?
That's pretty normal. A lot of people won't have maybe the in-district person. I think that's important because one of the things I want to do is stay in touch with the 25th district. I want to be accessible. That's why, like I say, even after we won, we've been meeting with county commissioners. We've been meeting with leaders, and that's pretty important to me because that's the people that elected me, and I definitely want to stay in touch.
Yeah, in every single county except Butler, and you had pretty much tied in Butler. So, I mean, you pretty much had a mandate from every county. So I'm sure every county is wanting to stay in touch with their state senator.
And we've had several meetings in Butler County. We've had 4 or 5 meetings already in Butler County. In fact, just to kind of talk about this, I'm gonna brag about one of our kids. I took my daughter Claire to an emergency management meeting. It was actually an emergency management meeting when the hurricane was coming up. And took her with me. She wanted to go and sat in this office where everybody was talking about, well, it was on the phone call with the National Weather Service. And I had given Claire a little notepad. And she's over there, I thought, doodling, And we leave the meeting, or get ready to leave the meeting. I look down, and she has these perfect notes of everything that was said in that meeting. And I thought, that's perfect.
Sounds like the taxpayers have a lot of free labor in the family.
They do, yes.
So, Jason, what's your priorities for the 25th district? You campaign on issues. The campaign's over, thank God. It's time to govern. Everybody needs to come together behind their state senator. You campaign on a set of issues. What's your priorities now?
Well, I campaigned on priority of economic development, number 1. And I'm staying true to that promise. That is that's what we're going to concentrate on. Also, I'll kind of tell you workforce development. When I really did a lot of research into why are companies not coming here, one of the number 1 things we saw was a lack of a qualified, available workforce. So that is something we're already working on. I'll give you an example of something right here in Malden. We've had 2 meetings that have been canceled, unfortunately, to COVID with Southeast Missouri State University. I'm wanting to meet with them on what they're going to do with the Boot Hill Education Center. The county commissioners are online. We are ready to move if we can somehow work with Southeast Missouri to either work with them to use the building, however we go about that, to turn that into a workforce training center. So that's just one thing that is a priority of mine, is trying to already move forward and work on some of those priorities. We've got something that we're looking at to introduce one of our pre-filed bills that will be on rural broadband, making it more accessible for the 25th district on some things. We're already looking toward that. Another priority I have is looking at protecting our police officers and our first responders. So we're working on some stuff for that as well. Once again, we're already moving, but going back to my number 1 priority, economic development. And once again, understanding why are we not getting industry in here? And let's start moving towards some things that we can hopefully attract industry.
I actually met with your brother-in-law, the county commissioner, Ron Huber, the other day about this particular issue. And that would be a boom for Southeast Missouri if we could get some type of vocational education training right here.
Yes.
We've got the facilities to do it. We just need some cooperation regionally, correct?
Right. If you look at tying in, like I say, Southeast Missouri, you look at the county commissioners, I think that's where we need to go to our labor unions and talk to them. They do a lot of workforce training. And let's look at everybody coming together to try to deal with this issue.
That would be a great pipeline for the unions to send their workers down here to train. But also, too, me and your brother-in-law, Ron, talked about the other day, a great job for an 18-year-old high school graduate, because everyone's not cut out for college. Everybody doesn't want to go to college, but heating, air conditioning, plumbing.
He's talked about that a lot.
That's a $100,000 a year job right here at home. Right. So we need to try to start keeping those people, that talent here at home. And we won't dwell on that. We'll give you a little bit of time to work on it. I mean, you're not even the state senator yet, so we won't hold you accountable to that yet. But in about 6 months from now, I want to have you back and see where we're at on that project. And maybe we'll get Ron Huber to come back, or maybe somebody from economic development to come back and talk about that. So I know it's at the forefront of your mind right now. That's one of your burning issues. So hope we can get that done. And all the citizens in Southeast Missouri, I'm sure, are willing to help.
And like I said, we're already working on it because that's important to me. I just think that's, like I said, we've got to fill these storefronts back up or do whatever we can to create jobs here, and that's important. And like you said, looking at a broad-based training facility. I mean, let's don't forget, agriculture is our #1 industry here in the state of Missouri, training people to work on farms that don't want to go to college. I mean, electricians, it's just,
Individuals to work, mechanics and,
Right.
we were discussing that the other day, just changing the oil,
Yeah, we were in a car dealership, and you know what, there are 2 people down, they can't find anybody right now. So, like I say, that's what,
Even police force training, that might be something that could be done here instead of on campus at 𝐷𝐸MO, because one thing I've noticed about local police departments, we don't pay our deputies enough. Even the sheriff and chief of police in most small towns don't get paid enough. And you get a better caliber person, or you can get better training. You could get a better police officer if they have better training. So, that place could even be used for police training.
yeah, I've actually, the police chief here in Malden, Jarrett Bullock, and I have had that same conversation. And once again, it ties right into the Boot Hill Education Center if we can make the proper adjustments there.
More jobs, you need better police, right?
Absolutely.
And you get better police by better pay and better training, correct? I'd like to thank State Senator-elect Jason Bean and his beautiful wife, Desi Bean, for joining us tonight. This has been a great show. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll join us next week. We're going to have Kevin O'Malley. He's the former ambassador of Ireland under President Obama, and he's also head of the Joe Biden campaign here in Missouri. And there may be a special surprise at the end. Thank you.